Hey everybody, it looks like we're live. And this is only the second live stream I've ever done, and this is the first one I've done with the OBS. And let me tell you what, it was a lot more troublesome to set up than I expected it to be. So, with any luck, this will go smoothly. And let's see here. Why don't we, before we get started, let's send out a tweet, shall we? Okay, now how do we do this? Right, let's see here. Live streaming. What is the link? Link. Dashboard. I don't know how to do a link. Hey, Kirk, what's going on? I am not experienced at live streaming. So this ought to be interesting. In any case, let's go ahead and start the show. I don't have a day off. It is 2:15. I need to leave for work in about 45 minutes. So I'm going to see if I can't get this done in an appropriate amount of time. What we're going to do today is we are going to build a chainmail army using the stats from the monster manual for a game that I'm going to play live and in person with Captain Hook on Sunday. So let us turn to a blank page here in our journal. All right. Why does it not show? That's weird. It looks like it's frozen. Can you see things moving around, Kirk? Oh, it's just delayed. Huh. Interesting. All right, well, in any case, let's get started here. So, chainmail orcs. In the monster manual. Where are they? Orcs. There are 30 to 300. That's 3d10 times 10. Nine, 4, 3. That is going to be 160 orcs. Now, for every 30 orcs encountered, there will be a leader and 3 assistants. So that's going to be plus 5 leaders. Plus 15 assistants. If 150 or more orcs are encountered, there will be the following additional figures with the band: a sub-chief and 3 to 18 guards. 3 to 18. You know what? I have some dice over here. I'm going to get the white ones out for high contrast. 2, 4, 9. 9 guards. All right, where are we at here? Each of those having armor class 4, so that's AC 4. Fighting as monsters with 2 hit dice. If the orcs are not in their lair, there is a 20% chance they're escorting a train of 1 to 6 carts and 10 to 60 slaves. All right, well, the amber die will be our 10s. 44. Nope. No carts, no slaves. All right. So now we have 160 orcs. So we need to determine the weaponry as shown below. Now, they are armor class 6 for these guys, and 1 hit dice. Now, 5% are going to have a sword and a flail. So it's going to be 8. %are going to have a spear. So you know what we're going to do? We are going to group all of the polearm ones together. So that's 30% with polearms. 48. So let's hold off on that. So we have 48 with polearms. We have, well, we have an additional down here, 30 more. All right, so it's going to be 96. 48 plus 48. And then hand weapons will be for the rest. For missile weapons, they're very limited. They have 20%, 10% crossbow, 10% bow. So 16% crossbow, 16 bow. And then the rest will just have normal hand weapons. All right, so we won't worry if it's a sword and a flail or just an axe or a sword and a battle axe. That's not going to really matter in terms of how these are laid out. So that's 32 and 96, 98. Well, that's what, 30, 96 and 32, 98, 128. So that's 32 with hand weapons. And this is what happens when you go live, especially when you've never done this before, because this is crazy. Okay, so 32 with hand weapons, 96 with polearms, 16s with crossbow, and 16 with bow. Now, we're going to go ahead and look in the fantasy supplement here of Chainmail. And find the orcs entry. Orcs. They are quarrelsome and fractious. Well, we're going to say these are all just one band. They have a morale rating of 5. And cost 2 points each. All right, so then we're going to come back here to fantasy. I should have marked the page. Okay, point values. So orcs are 2 points. Those with bows are plus 3 points. Crossbows are plus 1.5. So these are going to be plus 24 points. These will be plus 48 points. We have 96 with pole arms. So that's going to count as a pike. So plus 96 points. All right. And then we have our combat table. Okay. Fantasy reference table for orcs. They move 9 inches. They have special ability B. They can see in normal darkness. They charge 12 inches. They cannot fly. Their missile range is 15 for these here, bow and crossbow. But you know what? So this bow range is 15, and the crossbow, we'll double check that, but I think it's 21. Now, they attack and defend as heavy foot. So in both ways, they will be counted as heavy foot for terms of the combat. Now, with 160, 180, 190. So there's going to be 190 total figures. And there's 2 ways we can do this. We can go ahead and build these out in terms of hit dice, or we can do one-to-one scale. I think we'll go ahead and do one-to-one scale simply because I have enough cubes, and we can break these up into separate units. So there'll be 1 unit of 16 bowmen, 1 unit of 16 crossbows, and then we'll break the 96 pole arms up into smaller units. And then I think we'll break the hand weapons up into smaller units as well. So let's see here. Now, in terms of hit dice, we have a sub-chief and 9 guards that have 2 hit dice. Everyone else has 1 hit dice. So I don't really think that we need to scale it down, because when you only have 160 miniatures, if we go 10-to-1, that's only going to be 16 figures, and that's not going to be an exciting battle. So we're going to go ahead and do it at 1-to-1. This is the list for the orcs. Now, the opponents of the orcs are going to be men, bandits, and there are 20 to 200 bandits. So 7 and 8 is 15. That's going to be 150 bandits. And for every 20 bandits, there's an additional 3rd level fighter. So that's going to give us 7 plus 7 level 3 fighter. For every 30, there's an additional 4th level fighter. So that's going to be plus 5 level 4 fighter. For every 40, there's an additional 5th level fighter. So that's going to be 3 more. And for every 50, there's an additional 6th level fighter. So that'll be plus 3 also of level 6 fighters. They're always led by 8th, 9th, or 10th level fighter with 6 2nd level guards and a 7th level lieutenant. So there's 1 level 7 fighter lieutenant plus 6 level 2 fighter guards. If there's 150 or more, the leader is 10th level. So we have a level 10 leader. All right, now, for every 50 bandits, there is a 25% chance there will be a magic user of 7th to 10th level accompanying them. If there are 200 bandits, there will always be a magic user. So let's go ahead and roll for that. We're going to see what happens. We're going to play this out, man. We are going to see what happens. 78. 78. Can you see that? Too bad, Captain Hook. You don't get a magic user. For every 50 bandits, there's a 15% chance there's a cleric. So that will be 45% chance of a cleric. 87. No, there is no cleric. No magic user. No cleric. Well, that's okay, because you know what? That would be really confusing anyway. But now the fun thing about this is we get to sort out these troop types. So we have 10% medium horse, chainmail, shield, and sword. So we're going to have 15 medium horse. And then we're going to have 30 light horse. 15 have leather armor, shield, and spear. And 15 have light crossbows. So we're just going to break those up into the 10s. 15, 15, 15. Light horse, expo, spear. Now also each of these will have a different armor class, because we have leather armor, leather plus shield, and chain plus shield. Now when we get down here, the swordsmen, the hand weapon dudes, there's 40%. So that's going to be 60. Light infantry, light foot, armed with hand weapons. So we're just going to call that light foot. Leather plus shield. And then we're going to have 15 with pole arms. And then we'll have 2 sets of missile weapons, 15 with light crossbow and 15 with short bow. Now the bow is 15 inches range. And then we'll double check the armor classes in here. Now what we're going to do though is we're going to go ahead and just count these as the troop types that they're listed on here. So all of the orcs will count as heavy foot. All of the bandits will count as light foot, light horse, or medium horse. The medium horse, interestingly, have swords rather than lances, so that will still be interesting. I think they can do some. They can still do some damage, you know, when they're charging, because the orcs don't have any cavalry. Now let's see if we've got any more. All right, we're going to say this is average, and we're going to stick with the 30% cavalry. And so those are our forces. We can break these up. Now, see, these are all 15s. We may want to mash some of these together, or maybe break this unit of light foot into 30 and 30 or 40 and 20. But we'll get together with Captain Hook and see how that's going to work out. Now, the real question, though, is what will we do about these? These are just, like I said, we're going to do 1-to-1. So each cube that we're going to use is going to count as one figure. So we'll just identify each of these leveled characters as well as the leader. And we'll do the same thing over here with these 10 that have 2 hit dice. And for these guys here. Now, these leaders and their assistants, it says they're supposed to have 8 hit points, so I'm not sure how we're going to handle that. But I don't want to be rolling damage because that's just too much extra paperwork. So I like to keep it as the casualties as generated by hit dice. So there we go. In a nutshell, how to use Chainmail and the Monster Manual to generate armies. It looks like that took us about 60 minutes, maybe a little bit less. It's not hard. It doesn't take long at all. And then all we have to do is deploy these out on the table, and then we'll start going. For the game on Sunday, we are going to be doing simultaneous movement. We are going to be doing written orders. So that will slow things down a little. We're not going to live stream that game because that'll just be too much. But we're going to do written orders, and that will, like I said, that will allow for simultaneous movement and simultaneous combat. So anything that happens in each segment of the turn will happen simultaneous. There won't be any artillery fire, missile fire, everyone will fire, and then we'll remove casualties, and then we'll resolve the melees. We will be using the units in the front line are going to be counted for determining the post-melee morale score. We did 2 playtest games using that, and it was much more interesting and much more like a war game as opposed to sort of just kind of just whoever was the biggest unit wins, which doesn't necessarily always happen. So that was really interesting. Like I said, I didn't roll up any magic. It didn't say anything about shamans for the orcs, did it? Did not. Oh, here we go. We do have the tribal standard we need to roll for. There's a 40% chance that they'll have their tribal standard with them. And that is a 21, so we will have the tribal standard. The standard causes all orcs within 6 inches to get +1 on hit dice and morale check dice. So we're going to count that here on page 40. Heavy foot versus light foot. They get 1 die per man and a 5 or 6 kills. So any of the orcs that are within 6 inches of the standard will get +1 die for their attack. And then they'll also get, what is it in here? +1 to their morale check dice. And so what we'll do is the orcs have a morale rating of 5, as we said here. However, any of the orcs that are within 6 inches of the tribal standard will then have a morale rating of 6. So that will that will make a difference. That definitely will make a difference, especially if we get into a situation where we've got some polearm armed orcs going up against hand weapon armed humans. Because there's another very interesting rule. First of all, anyone armed with a pike or halberd adds an extra die. So they'll be getting an extra die for that. And in addition, all troops formed in close order with polearms, which we're going to count spears and polearms or halberds as polearms, can only suffer front melee casualties from troops armed with like weapons. So what that means is these polearm dudes and these light horse will be able to attack them. However, these light foot will not. If they get into hand-to-hand combat, they are just going to get ground up like a hamburger. So there we go. That's our setup. We're coming up on 30 minutes here. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I wanted to get this done. Didn't know how long this would take. And honestly, it took me longer to to set this up for the live stream than it did to actually record it. So, Kirk, if you're out there, thanks for watching. Everybody else, thanks for watching on the replay. Be sure and pop over to wargameculture.substack.com. We will have lots of cool information over there. All of this will get typed up, and I will post it over there with a link to this video. And we'll also have a battle report and probably a brief podcast style, audio style after action report about the battle on Sunday. So thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.